सही कह रहे, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ डन कर लेते हैं।
बढ़िया कर रहे हैं यार।
पार्टी करेंगे, पार्टी 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 पार्टी।
हेलो बेटा, तुम लोग यहाँ शिफ्ट हो रहे हो?
मोस्टली आंटी।
सही है। मेरे हस्बैंड है ना, तो इनके कुछ दवाइयाँ चाहिए, वो आप ले आओ। प्रेस्क्रिप्शन। हाँ। कितनी अच्छी बात है, तुम जैसे यंगस्टर्स इस बिल्डिंग में आ रहे हैं। पैसे तो लो। अच्छा, मैं क्या कह रही थी, जब आप मार्केट जा ही रहे हो तो मुरारी की दुकान से एक डबल रोटी और थोड़े अमरूद ले आना, बहुत अमरूद खाते हैं।
अच्छा अमरूद।
अच्छा सुनो, बच्चे जा रहे हैं, तुम्हें कुछ चाहिए? यही लेके आना बेटा।
आंटी जी एक मिनट। पार्टी नहीं, ड्यूटी लगेगी। Housing.com।
Housing.com with maximum owner properties. Housing.com पर से perfect. Download now.
आते हैं आंटी लेके, हाँ सामान आपका।
दूध ले आते हैं हम। ठीक है,
चलिए फुटले।
Hello everyone, Namaskar, Salaam, Sat Sri Akal, Vanakkam. We are back with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com. This is India's first real estate focused podcast. It brings to you updates, views and insights about the realty sector, an explainer on a chosen subject and a deep dive into an industry trend or topic. You can catch the episode on Housing.com, on the Housing.com app, on earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Ghana.com and JioSaavn. If you missed the episode, don't worry. We have you covered. Wear your headphones or put on the phone speaker. You can listen to this while driving, eating, cooking, jogging, running, walking, chopping vegetables, or basically doing anything else. Whenever you want, wherever you are. Mumbai celebrates Diwali with a mega home buying spree. Average housing prices have increased by nearly 5% in 2022. Know how to save stamp duty on the purchase of a property. Details of all these and much more are in this episode. In this episode, we spoke to RJ Kartik, a motivational speaker, influencer and YouTuber who has shared his Merapehlaghar story with us. Let's listen in.
नमस्ते दोस्तों, मैं हूं आरजे कार्तिक। किसी ने बड़े कमाल की बात कही है कि मंजिलें उन्हें नहीं मिलती जिनके ख्वाब बड़े होते हैं, बल्कि मंजिलें उन्हें मिलती हैं जो जिद पर अड़े होते हैं। मैं मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर हूं, आरजे हूं और बहुत सारे ख्वाब देखता हूं, बहुत ऊंचे ऊंचे ख्वाब देखता हूं, बड़े बड़े ख्वाब देखता हूं, लेकिन उनके लिए बहुत सारी मेहनत करता हूं। मेरा बहुत दिल से मानना है कि इस ज़िंदगी में जो भी आप चाहें वो आपको 3 तत्वों की वजह से मिलता है। पहला है प्रभु का आशीर्वाद, ऊपर वाली कृपा, दूसरा है आपकी फैमिली का प्यार और तीसरा है आपका अपना हार्डवर्क, आपकी अपनी मेहनत। एक ख्वाब मैंने देखा था अपना घर खरीदने का, अपना घर लेने का, लेकिन वो ख्वाब बहुत दूर लग रहा था। ऐसा लग रहा था कि शायद मैं उस ख्वाब तक पहुंचने के लिए मुझे बहुत सारी मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि जैसा मैंने अपना सपनों का आशियाना सोचा था उसको ख़रीदने के लिए बहुत सारी मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी। और बहुत समय तक हम किराए वाले फ्लैट में रहे और आपको मालूम है कि उसमें कितनी सारी प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं, कितनी सारे इफ्स एंड बट्स होते हैं। लेकिन बहुत सारे हार्ड वर्क के बाद में फाइनली आज से लगभग 2 साल पहले मेरा वो सपना पूरा हुआ। हमने अपने लिए एक डुप्लेक्स विला ख़रीदा और जिस दिन हम वहाँ शिफ्ट होने के लिए जा रहे थे, इनॉग्रेशन था, उस दिन एक अलग फीलिंग थी। मैं आपको बताऊं कि मतलब जब मैं उस घर में गया, जब सेटल हुआ, तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि वाह, यही तो था जो चाहिए था। क्योंकि अपना घर जो है वो होना इस दुनिया का सबसे खूबसूरत, सबसे सुखद एहसास होता है। और एक चीज़ और मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं मकान, बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं इमारत, लेकिन घर जो है वो अपनों से बनता है, अपनों के प्यार से, उनके एहसास से बनता है। तो फैमिली में प्यार बना रहे, मोहब्बत बनी रहे, सुकून बना रहे, स्नेह बना रहे, ये सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है। उन एहसासों से अपने उस खूबसूरत घर में आप भी जल्दी से जल्दी शिफ्ट हो जाएं, ऐसी मेरी दुआ है, ऐसी मेरी मंगल कामना है।
Average housing prices have increased by nearly 5% since the beginning of this calendar year on account of rise in input cost and a strong revival in demand, according to PropTiger.com. According to PropTiger.com's Real Insight report, the average prices of residential properties in primary markets across 8 cities stood at rupees 6,600 to 6,800 per square feet. The prices have appreciated by nearly 5% from rupees 6,300 to 6,500 since the end of December quarter. While the weighted average prices have risen marginally, about 5 to 6% across the top cities, they have risen at a higher rate in key micro markets of major cities such as Hyderabad, Bengaluru, and Gurugram. We spoke to Ankita Sood, Head of Research at PropTiger.com, Housing.com, and Makaan.com to dissect the trends for us. Let's listen in. Hi Ankita, glad to have you live on the show. So the PropTiger.com report says that average housing prices have increased by nearly 5% since the beginning of this calendar year. Do you think it reflects rising input costs or a demand revival?
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Sanskriti. Price rise seen during the beginning was mainly on the back of the rising input cost. The steel prices, the raw material had all gone up, which actually led to an increase in the cost of construction. For the developers, close to 15 to 20% went up for everybody. Along with this, the inflationary pressures, Sanskriti, owing to the geopolitical conflict, further put an upward pressure on the prices. Having said that, it is also to be noted that the rise in prices comes on the back of a demand revival, especially that we saw post the pandemic. The revival in demand, everybody wants the sense of security and, to have their own house. So the renewed importance of owning a home for the safety and security purposes also put an upward, pressure on the demand.
Yes, makes sense. So some micro markets such as Hyderabad and Gurugram have shown greater rise in prices. What would you attribute this to?
So, Gurgaon, definitely has seen the highest increase in property prices, close to 13% YOY, amongst the top 8 cities that we track. Key locations such as, the Golf Course Extension Road in Gurgaon, the Southern Peripheral Road, New Gurgaon, the key micro markets, they have attracted home buyers due to their good connectivity and the presence of the ready-to-move-in or the nearing completion inventory, like we say. Now, since the buyer is predominantly an end user right now, these locations are the most preferred micro markets in Gurgaon, I would say. On similar lines, Hyderabad is also an end user market, where the workforce is actually returning back amidst the hybrid work scenario that has actually fueled the demand across the city, especially in the western suburbs such as Kompally, Aminpur, and Kolhapur, etc.
Makes sense. So, do you expect housing prices to rise further in the coming quarters? What would be the main forces driving this price rise? Input costs or a sustained revival in primary housing markets?
The input cost rise factor has already been factored in, though obviously if there is an upward pressure on the input costs, it would get eventually passed on to the consumer. However, many developers have started passing on that to the consumers already, and that's why we saw the spurt in prices in the first quarter, 1.5 quarter of the year. Going forward, mostly the price rise will be on the back of the demand-supply gap and the demand revival post the pandemic that has triggered the sense of home ownership. So anything upwards to that will definitely be there because, Sanskriti, since 2013, prices had not gone up. So the price rise was imminent. But going forward, demand revival will definitely, some premium would be attached because of the supply gap.
And lastly, Ankita, prices of key construction materials have eased, but are still high as compared to the previous year. How will this affect prices and demand going forward?
So we did see a price hike, in the construction material in the first quarter of the year, but the developers were shying away from passing this to the home buyers, the rise in cost. However, now notable developers have already started passing on, that to the buyers, and it will definitely the prices, will move within close ranges, but upwards going forward.
Thank you so much, Ankita. It was indeed lovely to have you on the show. As per the report, housing prices in Ahmedabad rose 5% to rupees 3600 to 3800 per square feet from rupees 3400 to 3600 per square feet. In Bengaluru, the residential properties appreciated by 6% to rupees 5900 to 6100 from rupees 5500 to 5700 per square feet. Housing prices in Chennai increased marginally by 2% to rupees 5500 to 5700 from rupees 5400 to 5600 per square feet. Delhi NCR saw a 5% rise in prices to rupees 4700 to 4900 from rupees 4400 to 4600 per square feet. In Hyderabad, the housing prices increased 4% to rupees 6100 to 6300 per square feet from rupees 5900 to 6100 per square feet. Housing prices in Kolkata went up by 3% to rupees 4400 to 4600 per square feet from 4300 to 4500 rupees per square feet. Mumbai saw a 3% increase in prices to rupees 9900 to 10,100 per square feet from rupees 9,700 to 9,900 per square feet. In Pune, prices rose 7% to rupees 5,500 to 5,700 per square feet in July to September 2022 from rupees 5,100 to 5,300 per square feet at the end of the 2021 calendar year. Mumbai, the city of dreams, saw a quantum leap in the number of its residents fulfilling their dream of owning a new home this Diwali. In fact, this was one of the best Diwali the city ever had in property sales. Creating a record velocity in stamp duty collection, Mumbai proved itself once again as a luring destination when it comes to property buying. The Festival of Lights fueled the home buying spirit of the Mumbaikars. The zest to buy new homes was so high in the city that it surpassed the milestone of 100,000 registrations in the first 10 months of the year. The real estate market reached its highest stamp duty collection level for the month of October ever. According to data from the Maharashtra Inspector General of Registration, there were over 8,361 property deals registered in the market, generating over rupees 717 crore in revenue. Even though the number of property registrations this Diwali was smaller than that of October a year prior, the state exchequer received 30% more money from stamp duty. However, the highest number of property registration the city saw was on Diwali in 2020. It was aided by the concession in stamp duty. A total of 9,300 property deals were registered that year. The incentive was extremely important in restoring Mumbai's real estate market. For the first time in 10 years, property registrations surpassed the 100,000 mark in just 10 months. It was evident that the strong sales momentum acquired by the market this year has supported the October 2022 sales. The government's revenue collection from property registration rose significantly by 53% during this Diwali, registering the best growth in the last 10 years, crossing rupees 7,300 crore. The market appeared strong despite challenges like the implementation of the Metro cess, which increased the stamp duty by 1%. An increase in the repo rate by 190 basis points in the previous 2 quarters had only aggravated the concerns. Holiday deals from real estate developers that include absorbing higher interest rates on behalf of home buyers sped up deal completion. The initiative taken by realtors to implement mitigation measures to lessen the impact of the increasing interest rate regime on potential homeowners' affordability levels contributed to the maintenance of a strong sales momentum. Worried about the high stamp duty you have to bear while purchasing a property? Don't worry, we have the answers. Now, this is our piece of advice on how to lower stamp duty in the purchase of a property, that too legally, without violating any law. All of us know that in India, home buyers must pay stamp duty at the time of property registration. The stamp duty is often high-ranging, somewhere between 3% to 8% of the transaction value, depending on the state of residence. Nonetheless, there are legally safe ways to cut down on stamp duty on property purchases in India. Barring a few exceptions, nearly all states in India offer discounts to women home buyers. In the national capital Delhi, women buyers have to pay only 4% stamp duty as against the 6% rate for male buyers. You may consider registering the property in the name of a woman in the house to avail this benefit. Availing this discount is also possible if the property is being co-registered in the name of a woman, even though the discount in this case may be lower. Similarly, circle rates are the government-registered determined value below which you can't register your property. This is the benchmark used to calculate the stamp duty. Since the circle rate in some cases may be lower than the market rate of the property, you may consider registering your property based on its circle rate value. However, there is a flip side to registering the property at a circle rate. It may also mean lowering the value of your property on paper. This means that if you sell this property in the future, you may not be able to demand, say, rupees 1.20 crore for a property registered at rupees 80 lakh a couple of years ago. Also doing so would mean higher capital gains tax applicability. Sometimes the market rate of the property may be lower than the circle rate. However, since the law obliges you to pay stamp duty on circle rates only, you may be forced to pay higher stamp duty for a property of lower value. Section 47 of the Indian Stamps Act allows buyers the freedom to file an appeal with the sub-registrar to review circle rates in case the market value of a property is lower than circle rates. In the case of an under-construction property, a buyer pays stamp duty based on the construction cost and his undivided share of the land on which the structure stands. Sometimes, laws related to stamp duty in different states may be very different from one another. For instance, in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, buyers of under-construction properties pay the stamp duty in two parts. First, the property is registered in the name of the buyer based on his undivided share. Showing a lower UDS would thus mean lower stamp duty. On project completion, the property is registered for the second time, calculating the stamp duty for the entire property value. A buyer undertakes long research for future purchases. Studying the local stamp duty law may be a good idea because there are state-specific benefits that can be availed of at the time of property registration. In Uttar Pradesh, for instance, the stamp duty on property transfer with the family has been capped at rupees 7,000, which includes 6,000 as stamp duty plus rupees 1,000 towards processing fees. In Maharashtra, property transfers within a family attract only rupees 200 stamp duty, even though the government is in process of re-evaluating this provision to increase revenue collection. You can make savings at the time of income tax liability discharge. Under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act, a buyer can claim a 1.50 lakh deduction against stamp duty and registration charge on payment of property purchases. In the case of joint owners, each one can claim this deduction proportionate to his share in the property. Hope this helps you when you go to own a new house next time. That's it from us for this episode. We shall be back again with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com with information and insights on the real estate industry. Take care and stay safe.